My name is Julia Bell, by the way. Welcome. I'm going to give you a quick run through on how to make these table decorations. You can take as little or as long time as you want, depending on concentration. I don't have a lot, so I don't take very long to do these kind of things. Basically, it's a case of making something and then leaving it to dry and then putting it wherever you want to put it afterwards. Last night, I made this table decoration. It has a candle in the middle and it has some baubles and some ribbons and some foliage around the outside, some ivy and some holly. Now it's dry, I can lift it off of the plate because the plaster of Paris is now set. So you can either put I've actually cut a circle out of a Christmas serviette and I'm going to put mine on there so that I can have it on the table at Christmas, in the middle of the table when I'm serving lunch. But you can have them on the windowsill, you can have them outside on the tables, but they're really easy to make. So I'm going to talk you through quickly what you need. You need some filler of some kind. I've got this cheap polyfiller powder that you use, that you mix with water. You can buy it ready-made. If you don't want to use powder and do anything like that, you could use squashed out plasticine or you could use some Play-Doh instead. So I'm going to mix up. I've put some powder in an old pot and I'm going to put some cold water in and mix it into quite a thick paste. And stir it all up. I've actually put too much water in now, so I shall add some more powder. Just use an old spoon and an old pot. You don't want to use your best plates for anything like this. There we are. So I've mixed that to quite a thick paste. And I'm going to use an empty paper plate. You could use an old china plate if you wanted to. And as it starts to set, I'm putting a couple of spoonfuls into the middle of the paper plate. So there it is, in the middle of the paper plate. From there, you can add whatever you like to it to make it look pretty. I've got a spare candle. You could put a candle in the middle, but I've already made one with a candle. So I have got a collection of bits of cut up tinsel, and I've got some baubles and some ribbon. I've also collected a few pine cones and painted a couple of them gold and a few twigs. And I've collected some ivy and some holly and cut it up quite small. I may need to cut it up a bit again. So with your plaster in the middle or whatever you're going to use, you then start to build up your table decoration. So I'm going to put some ivy into it and some holly. And some more holly. A couple of bright baubles. Press them in. Some of the ribbon I'm going to just put round the outside and press it in. The idea is to cover the plaster so you can't see it. But if when it's dry, you want to use some paint or some spray to go over it, you could do that. So I'm putting some ribbon around the outside. And then I'm going to get some tinsel and just cut a couple of small pieces and also press those into the squashy polyfiller. It's probably easier to use something like this than it is Play-Doh, because it probably wouldn't hold it in the same way, I don't think. And maybe a nice bright shiny one for the middle, and a bit more holly to balance it out on the other side. Obviously, you can have a search around in the garden if you can find any other evergreens that you like, or some dried flowers you could use. I'm trying to balance it out so it looks fairly even, but it really doesn't matter if it's not perfect. And I'll put a couple of tiny pine cones in either side. So that's it. What you do now is you have to leave it probably overnight, certainly till the end of the day, for the plaster to set. Once it has set, then you can lift it off the plate and either put it on a plate of your own. I've got a couple of old plates that I got from charity shops. So you could put it on something like that. So the one I made last night, I could put that on a nice plate rather than the paper plate. However, if you wanted to decorate the plate that you're putting your decoration on before you start, here's an empty paper plate, and I've got some gold and some green paint. So you could, I want to do this very quickly, you could paint the outside of the plate in some lovely Christmassy colours. Just doing it very quickly here because it'll take too long otherwise. But basically, decorate the outside of the plate before you start, and then make your decoration in the centre and make sure you spread your foliage out to where you've stopped painting. Obviously, you might need to leave that to dry a little bit before you start. And then the one that I made last night, you could just put that in the centre of your painted plate, which sets it off quite nicely with gold or red or any colour, white, make it look snowy, to put your decoration on. So I hope that's given you some ideas. As I say, you can put whatever you like on, and once the plaster has set, that's what it looks like underneath. You can then move it around and put wherever you want it to look nice, either, as I say, on a windowsill or in the hallway or as a table decoration. And that's the one I've just made this morning. So it's very simple. Just a few bits of foliage and some glitter and some baubles, or you could use any other Christmas decorations that you can find, and just make it look festive and have some fun doing it. So hopefully we will put a list of the items that you need on the website, and it's very straightforward. So I hope you have fun doing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julia.